What is up, guys? Rick is here going over the E-Gun, a unique laser in Borderlands, the pre-sequel. Now, usually we're going over blue guns with red text, but the E-Gun is actually a purple gun with red text, the red text granting it abilities that most lasers do not have. Now, this weapon is awarded to you after completing the Sub-Level 13 Part 2 quest. This mission is awarded to you directly after completing the Sub-Level 13 quest, and that's given out by Davis Pickle. Once you do Sub-Level 13, you're basically immediately going to be given access to Sub-Level 13 Part 2. Now, it's important to know that at the end of Sub-Level 13 Part 2, there's two choices. You can go back to Pickle and hand in the quest, which will give you a green grenade mod, or you can stay around, activate this device, and hand in the quest to a character that will appear called Schmidt, and they will award you with the E-Gun. So definitely do not hand in Sub-Level 13 Part 2 to Pickle, or you will be royally screwed out of an E-Gun. Now, the red text of the E-Gun is kills ghosts, apparently, which is true, it actually does. During the mission, there's ghosts that can only be damaged by the E-Gun. Now, the other unique factor about the E-Gun is it is the only non-elemental laser in the entire game. That's actually more important than you think. Now, of course, you know, elemental lasers and elemental damages have their effect. I mean, nothing does more damage to a shielded enemy than an electric gun. However, being the only non-elemental laser has its perks, and it's a must-have for a laser Wilhelm build, which is what I have. I have a bunch of stuff on that increases overall laser damage. Again, being a non-elemental gun, the E-Gun is good against every enemy. It doesn't excel against every enemy, but it is good against every enemy and can get around enemies that have elemental resistance. You can see for yourself in this video just how effective it is against normal enemies. And even if I encounter, you know, an enemy with a shield, or an enemy with just red health, or an enemy with armor, if you're using elemental guns, like if I was using the Miss Moxie's Vibra Pulse, I would be in trouble when I was encountering maybe the armored enemy. If I was using a corrosive gun, I'd be in trouble every time I encounter an enemy with a shield. But with the E-Gun, I'm never really in trouble. Again, it's got pretty much everything covered because it's just a non-elemental gun. On top of that, the E-Gun just has very good stats. Great damage, great fire rate, and a 214% continuous damage bonus. This gun is just pretty fantastic on its own. Now, is the E-Gun good in the absolute endgame content of level 70? Well, I think you can see from the gameplay it certainly is. I mean, again, it melts enemies. It's fantastic. And as a laser Wilhelm, again, I can't overstate how important it is to just be able to switch to this gun. Now, again, going back to the elements, I mean, you'll have to have a fire laser and an electric laser and a corrosive laser just to have everything covered. But now you can have, let's say, 2 electric lasers of different varieties and then have the E-Gun to switch to for all other enemies. Or, my build right now, I was just running the Miss Moxie's Vibra Pulse, which is an electric, and then I just have the E-Gun. I'm allowed to have 2 non-laser weapons that are, you know, better in certain circumstances because I can always, again, switch to that E-Gun and I know I'm covered. I mean, you're not always going to have different good lasers of each different element. You just might not have a good electric laser, period. In which case, you can use the E-Gun. So in summary, the E-Gun is just a great gun overall, just looking at its baseline stats, but the fact that it's the only non-elemental laser in the entire game gives it a distinct advantage and makes it a must-have, especially for classes like Laser Wilhelm that depend on lasers, and any other class that want to use a laser but don't want to be constricted by a certain element. And it just makes it so that you don't have to go and get a good laser of every different element. You can have all shock lasers and the E-Gun to cover you in every other scenario. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Please remember to rate, comment, and subscribe for more Borderlands content. And as always, have a good day.